Hang tight, I'm on my way back. I'm almost there. Are you ready? Hi everyone, I'm back, reading Dragon Master's Rise of the Earth Dragon, chapters 5 to 8 this week. The book's written by Tracy West and illustrated by Graham Howells, and we have permission to read this from Scholastic Inc. Well, let's sit back and enjoy the book. Chapter 5. Do something! The training room was one big open space. Shields and long poles hung from the walls. Buckets held water and sand, and at one end of the room was a round target. Straw stuffing poked out from the sides. Griffith pointed to the target. Sparks flew from his fingers, and a red bullseye showed up on the target. It's time for target practice, the wizard said. Me first, Rory called out. Vulcan, come! The red dragon stomped forward. Vulcan, fire! Rory yelled. Dragon's orange eyes glowed. Then two streams of fire shot from his nose. The streams twisted together. The fire hit the bullseye. Perfect! Rory cheered. Then the straw burst into flames. Drake jumped back. Good aim, said Griffith. Bo, can you help put out the fire? Yes, said Bo. He looked at his dragon. Shoot, he said simply. He didn't yell like Rory. Shu swiftly crossed the room. Did her feet even touch the ground? Wondered Drake. Water, please, Shu, Bo said. A stream of water sprayed out of the blue dragon's mouth. The fire sizzled. Water droplets danced in the air, lit up by the torches. Khepri! Rainbow time, Anna cried. Khepri glided across the room. Dragon thought her white scales looked like jewels. A soft beam of light came out of Khepri's mouth. It grew wider and wider, and when it hit the water droplets, it made a rainbow. Wow, Drake said. Isn't she amazing? Asked Bo. Anna smiled. Rory put her hands on her hips. Now, let's see what Worm can do, she said. Drake felt nervous. He looked at Worm. Worm, are you ready? Drake asked. Worm stared back at him. I guess that means yes, thought Drake. Okay, Worm, fire! Drake jumped back in case fire came out of Worm's mouth, but Worm just lay there. Not all dragons can shoot fire, said Bo. Drake nodded. Right, oh, okay. Worm, water! But Worm didn't shoot water. Ha! Rory laughed. I knew it. Worm can't do anything. Drake's cheek grew hot with anger. He's just warming up, he said. Come on, Worm. Shoot light out of your mouth. Still nothing. You call that a dragon? Rory said. Please, Worm. Drake whispered into the dragon. Do something. Worm just blinked. Don't worry, Drake. Getting to know your dragon takes time, Griffin said. Target practice is over today. Let's go eat. Bo grabbed Drake's elbow. I hope you're hungry, Drake. The Dragon Masters get as much food as we want, said Bo. Drake was hungry, so this news made him feel a little better. But he failed the training. How can I be a Dragon Master if my dragon won't do anything I ask it to do, he thought. I'm only an onion farmer. I don't belong here. That's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6. A New Friend. There was so much food on the dining room table. Roast chicken, potato, carrots, bread, cheese. It was more food than Drake had ever seen in his life. Pass the potatoes, please, Drake said. Griffith pointed to the plate of potatoes. Sparks flew from his finger. As the plate floated over to Drake, he forgot all about wanting to go home. He stabbed a potato with his fork. Is every supper like this? Drake asked Bo. Bo nodded. Yes, there's always a great deal of good food, he said, but sometimes I miss my mother's soup. Is your home kingdom far away? Drake asked. Very far, said Bo. I come from the east, the kingdom of Emperor Song. And I come from the south, Anna added. It was warm there, not cold and damp like it is here. Well, I'm proud to be from this kingdom, Rory said. My father is a blacksmith. He makes the best horseshoes in our village. Drake missed home. He turned to Griffith. Is there a way I can let my family know I'm okay? Drake asked. The wizard nodded. You may send them a note. He waved to one of the servants. Please bring this boy paper and a quill. A servant gave Drake paper, a small pot of ink, and a feather. Drake's cheeks turned red. What? Rory asked. Haven't you ever seen paper before? Drake looked down at his plate. I worked in the fields at home, he said. I never went to school. I know how to read, but we never had paper or quills, so I don't know how to write. Rory started to say something, but Griffith gave her a hard look. Bo picked up the quill. I will write the note for you, he said. Thanks, Drake said. Then he told Bo what to write. Dear Mother, I am safe. Please do not worry. Everything is new and exciting. The king is keeping me well fed. My new friend Bo helped me write this letter. Love, Drake. Drake did not say anything about dragons. He thought that might scare his mother. The servant took away the note. Drake yawned. So where do we sleep? We have a room in the tower, Bo said. You will be in my room. Drake smiled. Good. At least he had one new friend here. Suddenly his soldiers stomped into the room. All rise for King Roland Bold, he said. That's the end of chapter 6. Chapter 7. A Strange Dream. The Dragon Masters jumped to their feet. King Roland swept into the room. He was a big man with red hair and a bushy beard. He walked right up to Drake. Drake was so nervous he was shaking. This is my new Dragon Master, he asked. Yes, your highness, said Griffith. The king frowned. He's scrawny. Drake felt like sinking into the floor. The king turned to Griffith. Explain this to me, wizard. My strongest men cannot control dragons. Why is it that these children can? It is the way of the Dragonstone, Griffith said. It's a mystery, even to me. Huh, snorted the king. Very well, then. I shall leave my army in your hands. Army? Drake wondered. King Roland looked at Drake. Do not let me down, boy, he said. Then he and the soldiers left. Everyone sat back down. The king's words scared Drake. What will happen if I do let him down? Drake wondered. He'd had a feeling it wouldn't be good. Bo took Drake to their room. There was a bed and a wooden chest for each of them. There was also a desk for them to share. A jug of water sat on the table. This is your bed, Bo said, pointing. Drake climbed into bed. The moon shone through the small window. Drake looked over to Bo. He was already sleeping peacefully. Drake soon drifted off to sleep too. All of a sudden, he was in a dark cave. The air in the cave felt warm. It smelled like a deep, rich dirt where the onions grew. Green eyes glowed in the darkness. Worm was in the cave, and behind him were other dragons. They all had the same brown scales and green eyes. Boom! A loud explosion shook the cave. Smoke filled the air. Worm let out a cry. The dragon slithered across the cave floor, looking for a way out. Drake woke up in his bed, dripping sweat. That was some nightmare, he thought. It felt so real. That's the end of chapter 7. Chapter 8. Flying Practice. After breakfast next morning, Drake went back underground with Griffith and the other Dragon Masters. Why do we train all the way down here? Drake asked as they walked. Don't you know, Rory said. We're a secret. No one knows the dragons are here. No one knows the Dragonstone is real. And no one knows about us. Drake looked at the wizard. It's true, Griffith said. The king does not want others to know about the dragons. Because he's building a dragon army? Drake asked. That's a king's business, not ours, said Griffith. He opened the door to the hallway of dragon caves. Collect your dragons. We are going outside today. Hooray! Yelled Anna, Rory, and Bo. But won't someone see us if we're outside? Asked Drake. No, we'll hide in the Valley of the Clouds, said Anna. Hurry, go get Worm. Drake ran through the winding hallway to Worm's cave. Worm raised his head and looked at him. It reminded Drake of his nightmare. He shivered. Come on, Worm, we're going outside, Drake said as he opened the gate. Worm crawled out of his cave. Griffith led them down a dark tunnel. The tunnel opened up into a bright field of grass. Tall hills rose up on all sides. The sun, cheered Anna. She twirled around. Drake looked up at the sun and smiled. So what do we do out here? He asked. Anna grinned. We fly, she said. She patted Kipri on the head. Show 'em, girl. Kipri raised her long neck and flew straight up. She looped and swirled in the air. Drake watched her, shading his eyes from the sun. He'd never seen anything like it. Wait till you see Vulcan fly, Rory said. Vulcan, circle. Vulcan flapped his big red wings. He flew up into the sky and circled the field. Wow, Drake said. He looked over at Bo. Your dragon doesn't have wings. But can she fly too? He asked. Bo nodded. She does not need wings, she said. Shoo, fly. Shoo floated up off the grass. It's like she's swimming through the air, Drake said. Yes, said Bo. How Shoo flies is very much like how she swims. She can ride the winds. Drake looked at Worm. His tiny wings did not look like he could lift him. What about you, Worm? He asked. Can you fly too? Worm just stared at Drake. He didn't flap his wings. He didn't even move. It's okay, Drake said. He thought of how scared Worm had been in the nightmare. We can watch the others. Drake sat on the grass and put his hand on Worm's back. The dragon moved a little closer to him. Suddenly, the dragonstone felt warm on Drake's skin. He looked down. It was glowing. Drake looked around. Griffith was standing over with the other dragon masters. None of the stones were glowing. Why is my stone glowing? He wondered. Am I doing something wrong? Drake quickly turned his dragonstone inside his shirt. Then he went back to watching the other dragons fly across the sky. That is the end of chapter 8. Well, that was the end of chapters 5 to 8. They were so great. We got to see what all the dragons get to do and look at how they're being trained and seeing and understanding how dragons work in the kingdom. Sounds like they're going to have a lot of work to do eventually if the dragons are an army. But it makes me wonder about Worm. Poor Worm can't seem to do anything. I noticed that when Drake was comforting him and telling him that it was okay, that Worm seemed to cuddle in a little closer and that things were going to be a little better. And then the dragonstone began to glow. I wonder what that's all about. I have a funny feeling we're going to find out more when I read chapters 9 to 12. I hope you enjoy them. See you next chapters.